Hello everyone, and welcome back to the NFL Kid. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the NFL Kid. I'm your host Rishi Marchandani, and today I'm going to be giving you my AFC playoff predictions. The way that this video will work is I'm going to go through each division in the AFC and then tell you how I think each team in that division will do, whether they will finish in 4th place, 3rd place, 2nd place, or 1st place in that division. Then at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you which teams I think will make the playoffs. Today, I will be predicting the AFC, and then in a few days, I will be predicting the NFC. You might also notice that I've added something new to my background today, and that is my NFL standings board. This board allows me to keep track of my predictions as well as the current NFL standings. So, as I unveil my predictions, I'm going to also unveil them on this board. Then, as the season goes on, I'm going to keep this board updated with the current NFL standings. So, if you ever watch my videos and you want to look at the board, you'll always be able to find the current and up-to-date NFL standings from each division. Now, let's get on with the video. Let's first start with the AFC East. The AFC East for me is one of the more straightforward divisions, and as much as it pains me to say, I think that the New York Jets will finish in last place in the AFC East. The New York Jets had a very nice draft, and they had some pretty nice free agency signings. And even though they had a nice offseason, I don't think it'll be enough to get them above the 3rd place team, which I believe this year will be the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots had a very strange draft, and they didn't do anything to get better this past offseason. They lost their best cornerback, J.C. Jackson, and didn't do anything to replace him or improve. So I think that this year, the New England Patriots will be closer in record to the New York Jets than the 2nd place team, the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins went all out this past offseason and would probably be a big Super Bowl contender if not for their one liability, Tua. I'm not saying Tua is bad by any means. I just think that we haven't seen enough of him to say that he's good yet. But now Tua has no excuse. The Miami Dolphins got him everything he could possibly need. They already had a great defense, and now they got the best offensive lineman available in free agency, Teron Armstead, and a top 5 wide receiver in football, Tyreek Hill. So this year, it might be Tua's last chance to prove that he is actually worthy of being Miami's starting quarterback. And then finally, number 1 in the AFC East, as I'm sure you all predicted, the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills were one of the best teams in football last year, and now they got even better in the offseason by adding more pieces on both offense and defense. They were 13 seconds away from going to the AFC Championship game, and as long as they have Josh Allen, they will always be contenders. Now, let's move on to the AFC North. The AFC North will be a much more interesting division this year, as the Cincinnati Bengals have a better offensive line, the Ravens are much healthier, the Steelers have a new starting quarterback, and the Browns have a new starting quarterback who's suspended for the first 11 games of the season. So, with all that being said, I think that the 4th place team in the AFC North will be the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers drafted Kenny Pickett to be their new franchise quarterback after Ben Roethlisberger retired. And even though they have some really good wide receivers and a good defense, I think that because of their below-average offensive line and how good their division and the whole AFC has gotten, they will be 4th place in the AFC North this year. In 3rd place in the AFC North, I have the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns traded for Deshaun Watson, but he got suspended for the first 11 games of the season, so now they are rolling with Jacoby Brissett. And because of that, I don't think they're going to be as good for those first 11 games, and so I give them the 3rd place spot. I gave them the 3rd place spot instead of the 4th place spot because I think they have a better offensive line and a better running game than the Steelers, so they'll do slightly better. Next, in 2nd place in the AFC North, I have the Baltimore Ravens. It was very close for me between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. However, I gave the Baltimore Ravens the second spot in the AFC North because they just don't have as many good wide receivers as the Cincinnati Bengals. They traded away their best wide receiver, Marquise Brown, to the Arizona Cardinals this past offseason, and now they are very lacking in that department. So I give them the second place in the AFC North, and then first place in the AFC North, I have the defending AFC champs, the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals made the Super Bowl last year, and I think they'll be even better this year, as even though sometimes teams who lose the Super Bowl have a slight drop-off, I don't think that'll happen with the Bengals. I think the Cincinnati Bengals will start right where they left off last season, and now they have an even better offensive line, so Joe Burrow won't get sacked as much. And they still have great quarterback Joe Burrow, great running backs, and great wide receivers. So that's why I give the Cincinnati Bengals the first place spot in the AFC North. Now, let's move on to the AFC South. The AFC South is a bit of a weird division, as two of its teams had top 3 draft picks last draft, with the Jacksonville Jaguars having the number 1 overall pick for the past 2 years in a row. However, I do not think that'll be the case this year, as I think that the worst team in the AFC South this season will be the Houston Texans. However, I don't think they'll be the worst team in the league this season. They just simply don't have a lot of talent on their team, and I think we just simply don't know how good their quarterback Davis Mills is. So for that reason, I give the Houston Texans the 4th place spot in the AFC South. Then in 3rd place in the AFC South, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars spent a ton of money in free agency trying to upgrade their roster. However, they spent a lot of money on a lot of average players, which normally isn't the recipe for success. Even though they added a lot more players, which I think will make them better, I don't think they'll be good enough to be that good, so I give them a 3rd place spot in the AFC South. Then in 2nd place, a team that I think will regress a little bit this season, the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans traded away their top wide receiver, A.J. Brown, to the Philadelphia Eagles, and even though they brought in Robert Woods to try and replace him, they are still going to be very limited at that position. So they're going to be relying solely on Derrick Henry for their offense, and even though their defense will be pretty good, I think they'll be limited this year because of their quarterback Ryan Tannehill and their lack of talent at the wide receiver position. And then at number 1 in the AFC South, I have the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts traded for quarterback Matt Ryan, who will be an upgrade over Carson Wentz, and they will still have a great running game with Jonathan Taylor, and their defense will still be very good. And this will probably be the best offensive line Matt Ryan has ever played behind. So, for that reason, I have the Indianapolis Colts at number 1 in the AFC South. And finally, what you've all probably been waiting for, the division that's most likely to be the best division in football this year, the AFC West. The AFC West is a loaded division this year, with all 4 of its teams making huge moves this past offseason. The Las Vegas Raiders traded for superstar wide receiver Davante Adams, and the Broncos traded for superstar quarterback Russell Wilson. The Chargers added both Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson on defense, and the Chiefs, they traded away Tyreek Hill. However, after all these major trades and signings, I think that the Las Vegas Raiders will be 4th place in the AFC West this season. Even though they have possibly the best wide receiver in football in Davante Adams, I think that since their division is just so tough now, they will be a 4th place team this season. Then in 3rd place in the AFC West, I have the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos made the biggest move of this past offseason by trading for quarterback Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson makes the Denver Broncos instantly so much better, and the Denver Broncos seem to have finally found their answer at quarterback, an answer they've been trying to find since Peyton Manning retired. However, I do think the Denver Broncos are being just slightly overhyped. I still think they'll be really good this season, but I don't think they'll have as good of an offense as everyone is saying they will. I think this simply because I don't think they have that many good wide receivers. Courtland Sutton will be great with Russell Wilson, but aside from him, all the other receivers are young and unproven, like Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler. Especially after Tim Patrick got injured, they don't have too much talent at that position. Who knows? Russell Wilson could make Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler really good, but so far we don't really know. However, I still think their defense will be very good, and Russell Wilson will make them a lot better. So for that reason, I have the Denver Broncos at 3rd place in the AFC West. And then in 2nd place in the AFC West, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. Now I was torn on this, as the Chargers could easily be a first place team, but I have the Chiefs at number 1 and the Chargers at number 2, simply because I think the Chiefs are more experienced and tested. The Chargers still will be very good this year, and I think they will be neck and neck with the Chiefs for most of the season. However, the Chargers have a less experienced coach and quarterback, and so they might make a mistake or do something that'll cost them a game later on in the season. And then at number 1 in the AFC West, I have, yet again, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and that quarterback-coach duo is the best in football now. And as long as they have that quarterback and coach, they will always be in contention for the number 1 spot in the AFC West. Even though they traded away their best wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, they did add Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdes-Scantling to try and replace him. And I think that they are simply more experienced and more tested, and I think they will get the number 1 spot in the AFC West because I've seen them do it many years in a row now, and I think they'll do it again. So now that I've gone through each division and seen how I think each team will do, let's take a look at what I think the playoff seeding will be for the AFC. We have our 4 division winners, the Bills, the Bengals, the Colts, and the Chiefs. I think out of those 4 teams, the Buffalo Bills will get the number 1 seed. The Cincinnati Bengals will get the number 2 seed. The Kansas City Chiefs will get the number 3 seed. And the Indianapolis Colts will get the number 4 seed. Now we have our 3 wildcard spots. For the first wildcard spot and the 5th seed in the AFC, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. I have the Chargers finishing just below the Chiefs in terms of record and seeding, and so I think they will get the 5th seed and make the playoffs, which they missed out on last season. For the 6th seed in the AFC, I have the Baltimore Ravens. I have the Baltimore Ravens ahead of the Denver Broncos, who will make the playoffs for the first time since Peyton Manning retired, with their new franchise quarterback, Russell Wilson. I think that the Denver Broncos get the 7th seed instead of the 6th seed, simply because their schedule is a bit tougher and their division is a bit tougher than the Baltimore Ravens. So, to recap my AFC playoff predictions, I have the number 1 seed, the Bills, the number 2 seed, the Bengals, the number 3 seed, the Chiefs, the number 4 seed, the Colts, the number 5 seed, the Chargers, the number 6 seed, the Ravens, and the number 7 seed, the Denver Broncos. I can't wait to see if my predictions turn out to be right or very wrong, but feel free to leave your predictions down in the comment section. Also, feel free to let me know what you think I should change with my predictions. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the NFL Kids' other very exciting videos, including my NFC playoff prediction video, which will be coming out in a few days. Until next time, my fellow football fans, see you at game time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.